Now we're going to look at 9.6. I think it's subtracting algebraic fractions. So we have to do it as though as we're actually doing a normal fraction. We have to solve it like how we do it for fractions. So the first thing we need to make sure that is that the same denominator. So for example, the question is a over 4 plus a over 4. They have this common denominator. So they behave exactly like how we do it for fractions. So let's imagine a is 1. So 1 over 4 plus 1 over 4. When you add them together, you get 2 over 4. Eventually, we will simplify it by dividing the highest common factor, which is 2 here, then we get half. So we can do the same thing when we are doing it with algebraic fractions. A over 4 plus over a over 4 is equals to a plus a. The denominator don't add each other. This just allows each other to be added when they are in common. If they're not in common, you cannot do anything about it. So here, over 4, we add them together, we get 2a. 2a over 4. Both we can simplify. Like earlier on, we learned about factorizing. We can see that both of them has a common factor of 2. So we can just divide by the same common factors, and then we can simplify it to a over 2, which is very similar to this. They're not the same value, but it is a similar working method. Okay, so fractions, they have a certain law to follow. They must always have a common denominator in order for you to add or subtract. It doesn't work like that for multiplication and division. Okay, so let's look at this one here. What if there are different denominators? For example, a over 4 over plus a over 6. You need to find the highest, the lowest common multiple here. Between 6 and 4, the lowest common multiple is 12. So we're going to make sure that the denominator can be number 12 as a common denominator. So 4, you need to multiply by 3. And to be fair, the numerator, you also need to multiply by the same amount. Next, you're going to look at the next term here, which is denominator 6. You need to change it to 12 by multiplying by 2. You have to do the same thing for the numerator multiplied by 2. Okay, so once the denominator is in common, then we can add as usual the top. So 3 plus 2 is equal to 5a. 5a over 12. We cannot further simplify it anymore because 12, it cannot be divisible by 5. Okay, so this is the same thing if we were to use a calculator to write, or you have to use it to do it in terms of the normal fraction, 1 over 4 plus 1 over 6. You can get answers as usual. At the end, you get 5 over 12. Okay, so let's look at the examples here. You asked us to simplify all of this. The first one is rather simple, since they already have common denominator. So they have common denominator. I'm just going to use the yellow to show that they have common denominator. I'm just going to add them as usual. X plus x is equal to 2x over 6. Simplify it by dividing by common factors 2 and 2. X over 3 is the final answer. Let's look at question B. Do they have the same denominator? No, they don't. I'm just going to use dots to represent that they don't have common denominator. So now I need to make sure I can find what is the lowest common multiples of these two. The answer is 9. So my common denominator has to be 9. So I'm just going to do it this way. To make sure that both of them is 9, so I don't need to do anything with the second term, but I need to change something with the first term. Multiply by 3, multiply by 3. So immediately when I multiply by 3, this one will come here. 3y, and then this one will move to the other side. Minus 1. Our answer will be 2y over 9. Look at C. 4n over 5 plus 2n over 3. It seems to me that we need to change the denominator to be in common. The lowest common multiples of 5 and 3 is 15. So both I need to change. I need to make it into 15 so that I can put them in one group. Times 3, do the same thing for numerator. Times 5, do the same thing for numerator. I must be fair. (22n over 15). Do not do anything after that. That's it. Just leave it as it is. Okay, let's look at D. What if we have different unknowns? A over 8 plus B over 4. Yes, we cannot add them together per se, but we can simplify them by putting them into one fraction. 8 and 4, lowest common multiple will be 8. So I just need to change this to 8. I will get A remains as it is, plus 2B. And this will be the final answer. Since we cannot do anything here, cannot be further simplified. This is your final answer. And let's look at the last one, E. 5P over 6 minus Q over 4. Same thing, they have different denominators, so I need to change them into common denominator. The lowest common multiple will be the number 12. This is very important for you to know your times table. If you don't know your multiplication table, then it's going to be slightly difficult for you. Times 2 here, times 2 here, and to be fair, on the other side, we do the same for the denominator and numerator. We'll get 10P minus 3Q. This is also your final answer. That's it, because it cannot be further simplified anymore. Final answer. Cannot be further simplified.